the role of social media exposure on vocabulary acquisition among undergraduates. So, the research paper seeks to study about the influence of social media to the acquisition of vocabulary of undergraduates, because the social media has influenced the language learners to acquire the language very easily, especially the communication skills and vocabulary. So I will prove those points in my presentation slides. So the independent variable is social media exposure and the dependent variable is vocabulary acquisition. So the background to the study, in Sri Lanka we learn English as a second language, and it has a greater impact on its people's education and professions. So in our country, if you are fluent in English, it's an added qualification for your job, and it's very needed for some subjects in higher studies other than languages. So when it comes to language, vocabulary is a key element, and the followed I have mentioned the researcher Domingo, and I can't pronounce the name. So he has proved that a learner should acquire vocabulary items first in order to proceed with the language learning process. So social media is the widely used platform, and it is used by almost every generation. It is loved by all generations, and the wider language acquisition area on a digitally facilitated medium such as social media is rarely met with researchers. There are still valid attempts that were made to bring out the possibilities. So here I have mentioned two researchers, Ahati Bak. So that these three persons suggest that survey, it suggests that there is a possibility where social media and its contents can be used as resources to develop vocabulary aspects. And the other two also, they say the impacts of the variable association is clearly measured under unique environmental conditions that got formed from COVID-19 pandemic. However, these evidence is not that much for the correlation among the variables thoroughly. Therefore, closing this gap through valid statistical methodology will serve the interest groups as well as future explorers in this very field of study. So on this background of the study, the direction is determined to enrich current understanding and create novel information. So the problem statement. So as I mentioned before, social media is a timely topic, and there are many people argue that social media is good for learning, and some others argue that it's not that good for learners to use social media. So it's very so it's in country like Sri Lanka, we tend to think that social media is not that advantageous when it comes to the learning process, since there are some circumstances which prove that there are some misdeeds as well. But if one could use the social media to enhance or create a difference in their vocabulary acquisition, so it's a great advantage for the language learners to use it wisely. So most of the studies I have read are focused on social media and its academic performance. So it creates a gap to analyze the utilization of social media to enhance vocabulary acquisition. That means the other researchers, most of them are focused on communication and writing skills. So for the vocabulary part, especially for the Sri Lankan context, the research articles are feeble. So it is expected to provide valid indication of the correlation of the elements which can be utilized to develop associations or misunderstanding. So vocabulary is one of the most significant component, and social media leads to acquire new words since the undergraduates spend more time in social networks than before. So even the teachers find it very beneficial because they are the students are very fond of using social networks. Even in our class also while teaching, sometimes they suggest to go to this social media platform and find some kind of an information. So it's very easy to access as well. This study will reveal the correlation between social media and vocabulary development of undergraduates in order to identify whether it is beneficial to be utilized. So here are my research questions. So is it possible to enhance one's vocabulary acquisition through social media usage? And second one, why should we encourage or discourage certain age categories to use social media to enhance the acquisition of vocabulary? And what genders are using the variables and what genders has achieved the preferred outcome? So when it comes to gender-wise, it can be different. But we don't like men and women. We don't use the same video or content to watch. It can be differentiated. So there can be different findings in that area as well. So the main objective of my study is to identify the correlation between social media and vocabulary learning, and it is expected to find statistical evidence to support positive or negative contribution effects these variables share throughout this exploration. So here I have mentioned three more specific objectives in order to achieve the main objective. They are to measure the difference of social media usage and its impact on vocabulary acquisition based on gender category, to identify the social media usage levels among each age category, to measure the difference and correlation among different motives of social media usage. Here is the literature review. So social media is a great platform to learn language skills, especially English as a foreign language or English as a second language. And the other researchers said that acquisition of vocabulary through social media is a widely adopted method. And according to Absava, social media interaction assists to improve the vocabulary by providing opportunities to engage with language, where the respondents agreed that application of new words have become easy due to the fact that they were used in the right context. So like when it comes to the vocabulary, one word can have two or three meanings, right? So the social media assists to understand each meaning by incorporating them into different contexts. So another researcher, he said that the social media guides to enhance vocabulary acquisition. It's because the researchers' respondents agreed that when they come across a new vocabulary item, they always go and search for the meaning of the newly founded vocabulary item. And based on a study carried out by Rahmi and Othman, the findings indicated that students' engagement is higher when social media is utilized within the class because social media provides sufficient and up-to-date content. So the methodology can be differentiated. So there can be different findings in that area as well. So the main objective of my study is to identify the correlation between social media and vocabulary learning, and it is expected to find statistical evidence to support positive or negative contribution effects these variables share throughout this exploration. So here I have mentioned three more specific objectives in order to achieve the main objective. They are to measure the difference of social media usage and its impact on vocabulary acquisition based on gender category, to identify the social media usage levels among each age category, to measure the difference and correlation among different motives of social media usage. Okay, here is the literature review. So speech language, where the respondents agreed that application of new words have become easy due to the fact that they were used in the right context. So, like when it comes to the vocabulary, one word can have two or three meanings, right? So, the social media assists to understand the each meaning by incorporating them into different contexts. So, another researcher, he said that the social media guides to enhance vocabulary acquisition. It's because the researchers' respondents agreed that when they come across a new vocabulary item, they always go and search for the meaning of the newly founded vocabulary item. And based on a study carried out by Rahmi and Othman, the findings indicated that students' engagement is higher when social media is utilized within the class because social media provides sufficient and up-to-date content. So the methodology. My research is a quantitative research, and the participants will give I will give the participants a questionnaire. Then the results will be analyzed. Correlation and other forms of statistical evidence will be collected to show the expected evaluation. And the participants will be university students whose age is above 18. And this portion is selected through the judgmental sampling technique with non-probability sampling methods. So to measure the two variables, for the vocabulary acquisition, I use vocabulary level test, and it is used because of the combat value of BLT is 0.92, and the social media usage will be measured through the social media use scale, and its combat value also higher than 0.7. So the questionnaire is made from this standardized test. So the questionnaire it's not my questionnaire, it's not me who is making the questionnaire, it's according to these standardized tests. So limitation and ethical consideration. The study is limited only to undergraduates. I am not taking school children who are below 18 to participate in this research because the process of ethical consideration can be complicated, and since they need to expose to the social media a lot, I thought that it won't be that beneficial since they are very young and they don't have that of an idea to use the social media wisely. And the allocated time duration kind of restrain the exploration of the research, but the researcher I will collect sufficient data to provide more accurate findings utilizing the time period efficiently. And as I mentioned before, the resources are a bit limited when it comes to the vocabulary and social media, and especially in Sri Lankan context. And finally, the significance of the research. So, the social media has become a platform for undergraduates to develop their academic work, and its function of being a resource to acquire vocabulary is crucial. The study focuses on to explore the correlation of social media exposure and vocabulary development of undergraduates to strengthen the process of language learning, which is significant to understand whether social media is a good platform to acquire vocabulary or not. If the research outcomes support for the positive aspects